Hello everybody. It's been a while since I made a video, so I thought I'd go outside in the nice weather and make something. One thing I wanted to sort of bring up was this whole thing about how you define atheist versus agnostic or theist or whatever. There seems to be a lot of confusion in the, I don't know, non-atheist community about what it means to be atheist. What it means is not have a belief, right? And what that means is you've got people who say, I do believe in God. And then you've got everybody else. If you say, I believe in God, you're theist. And if you don't, you're atheist. Now that's not to say you have to say, I disbelieve in God, or I hate God, or anything like that. It's just to say, I don't have a belief in God. So if you consider yourself agnostic, you're not sure, you're open about it, that's atheist. That means you don't say, I do believe. One way to think about this is thinking about it as though you were pregnant. If you're pregnant, you're either pregnant or you're not. So you're not partially pregnant or kind of pregnant or maybe, no, you're pregnant or you're not pregnant. That's the same thing. There could be any number of reasons why you're not pregnant, but you're either pregnant or you're not. Same thing with theism. You're theist or you're not. If you're not theist, you're atheist. That's what it means. It's the same thing as being pregnant or not pregnant. Now, it's not to say, or that's not to make a judgment as to why you aren't, or what kind of efforts you've made one way or the other. Irrelevant. If you have the belief, you're theist. If you don't, you're not. So there you go. So think about it like you're pregnant or you're not pregnant. You're theist or you're atheist. There's no other option. There's other attributes, like if you're not sure, you can be an agnostic atheist, or if you're sure, you're a gnostic atheist. That means you know, or you feel that you know. To be agnostic means I don't have a belief and I don't know anything. An agnostic atheist is, that's an agnostic atheist. Ah, yes. It's pretty easy to find videos about Christian fundamentalists or Muslim fundamentalists or Hindu or Sikh fundamentalists. But I was trying to think, what would an atheist fundamentalist be? I mean, look for Crazy Christian Lady. And I mean, most of us have seen the God Warrior. It's all dork-sided. Like that lady is crazy. She frightens me, and I feel really scared for her kids. But is there any equivalent to that in atheism? Like, have you ever seen a crazy atheist lady? Or, no, it just never happens. And as for fundamentalism, fundamentalism is generally taking something literally, right? Going all the way. But that's how we do things in science. We take it literally. We're supposed to take it literally. So it's like every scientist and every scientifically minded person is a fundamentalist. It's like, this is chemistry. This is always chemistry. It's not kind of like, I'll take and leave what I want from chemistry. No, this is chemistry or electronics or physics or whatever, right? We write down the best we know, and we're supposed to take it literally. You're supposed to be a fundamentalist when it comes to science. But, all the liberal people, they are like, no, you're not supposed to be a crazy fundamentalist religious person. Well, what is the difference here, What is it that, as far as fundamentalism, religious fundamentalism is concerned, what is it that gives you the right or the permission or even understanding of how to decide what to take literally and what to take figuratively? I've asked many people, never got a straight answer, ever. It's always, you gotta let the Spirit of God or the Holy Spirit guide you, or what, some bullshit like that. There's no answer, there's no way to know what to take literally and what to take figuratively. So they pick and choose. But as far as science is concerned, you take it all literally. People talk about Jesus being charitable and Jesus being kind, stuff like that. Well, Jesus supposedly had magical powers and he owned nothing. So if he had magical powers and owned nothing, is it even possible for him to be charitable? Because it means to give something of yourself away, and he had nothing. And you could say he gave his life, except that he came back 3 days later, so he didn't give that. I mean, if I give my car away to somebody who needs a car, that's charity. But if I demand the car back 3 days later, then not so much. So if you give something away and then you never have it again, that's being generous. That's giving it away. That's being charitable. But if you demand it back later, take it back 3 days later, no. So was Jesus charitable? In what way? He could have cured all of, if he had the magical powers he supposedly is supposed to have, he could have snapped his fingers and eliminated all disease. So we never had disease ever again. Instead, he just cured a couple of people that he ran into. How is that charity? So, anyway, and as for what would Jesus do? Well, one of the things Jesus did was he deliberately broke the Jewish law of not working on the Sabbath. He challenged the priests at every turn, and that's eventually what they killed him for. So basically, he was breaking the rules, and then telling them at one point, I come not to change the law, but to enhance it, to strengthen it. Not one jot or tittle will change until all is done. You're supposed to adhere to all the rules. He basically said all the rules stand. And then he went ahead and broke the working on the Sabbath rule. So, Jesus was a rule breaker, like his own rule, supposedly. Another one that makes me laugh is where people say, I've never seen a dog give birth to a cat. It's like, well, why would you expect to? And in fact, if you ever saw that, that would be evolution being proven wrong. So the crocoduck thing that, I forget his name, the Banana Man's sidekick, the crocoduck poster that he holds up, if you ever saw a crocoduck, that would prove evolution wrong. So the fact that he's never seen it actually supports evolution, not prove it wrong. Another point, that evolution is still just a theory. The people that call it a theory are the scientists who name theories. So the same scientists that name things, that say there's the theory of gravity, there's the theory of light, theory of music, they're the ones that say this is a theory of evolution. And they're also saying that it's true. Now, since the same ones that call it a theory of evolution are the ones that that say that it's true, and they're the ones that name things, don't you think that if the theory of evolution, if that was in any way a qualifier, something that would diminish its respectability or its verifiability or its truth, that they would call it something else? There's no independent body of naming things that the scientists that currently call it the theory of evolution have to appeal to. They're the ones who name it, and this is what they're calling it. So that should tell you it's true.